The mall was buzzing with people, lights flashing from every store, and the air smelled like popcorn and perfume. In the middle of it all, Lily stood frozen, her hands shaking as she held a shiny gold envelope. Her 6-year-old son, Max, tugged at her sleeve, his big brown eyes wide with excitement. "Mom, what's in it? Open it," he begged. Around them, a crowd was forming, whispering and pointing. Lily's heart raced. She wasn't ready for this. She wasn't ready for him. A man in a sharp black suit stepped forward, his smile dazzling under the mall's bright lights. It was Ethan Knight, the billionaire everyone in town knew from TV. His face was on billboards, his name on every fancy store. And now he was standing right in front of her, holding a microphone. "Lily Carter," he said, his voice booming through the mall. "You've been chosen for the shopping spree of a lifetime. $1 million to spend right here, right now." The crowd gasped. Max jumped up and down screaming, "Mom, we're rich!" But Lily's knees felt weak. She wasn't rich. She was a single mom who worked 2 jobs just to pay rent. She shopped at thrift stores, not places like this. Why her? Why now? Her eyes locked with Ethan's, and for a split second, his smile softened, like he saw something in her no one else did. Then, cameras flashed, and the crowd cheered louder, pulling her into a whirlwind of noise. Before she could say a word, Ethan leaned closer, his voice low so only she could hear. "There's more to this than you think, Lily. Trust me." His words sent a chill down her spine. What did he mean? Was this just a random prize? Or was something bigger going on? As security guards pushed the crowd back, and a team of assistants rushed her toward the first store, Lily clutched Max's hand, her mind spinning. This was supposed to be a dream come true, but it felt like the start of something dangerous. Lily's life hadn't always been this way. Just a few weeks ago, she was juggling her waitressing job at Dino's Diner and her late-night shifts cleaning offices. She lived in a tiny apartment with Max, where the heat barely worked, and the landlord was always knocking about for late rent. Max was her world, though. His giggles when they played hide and seek, his drawings of superheroes taped to the fridge those kept her going. But money was tight, and every day felt like a fight to keep her head above water. That morning, Lily had only gone to the mall because Max begged to see the new toy store. She'd saved up a few dollars to buy him a small action figure, just to see him smile. They were walking through the mall, Max chattering about robots, when a woman in a bright red blazer stopped them. "Are you Lily Carter?" she asked, holding a clipboard. Lily nodded, confused. The woman smiled widely. "Congratulations, you're a finalist for the Knight Foundation's big giveaway. Follow me." Lily thought it was a scam at first. She'd heard about fake contests that tricked people into giving away their information. But Max was so excited, and the woman showed her an official-looking badge with Ethan Knight's name on it. Against her better judgment, Lily followed her to the mall's center stage, where a crowd was already gathering. That's when things got weird. The woman led them to a roped-off area where other people, mostly families, were waiting. They all looked nervous, clutching tickets with numbers on them. Lily didn't have a ticket. "There must be a mistake," she told the woman. "I didn't sign up for anything." The woman just winked and said, "You don't need to sign up when you're chosen." Before Lily could ask what that meant, the lights dimmed, and Ethan Knight himself walked onto the stage. He was taller than he looked on TV, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to sparkle under the spotlights. The crowd cheered like he was a rock star. Ethan raised a hand, and everyone went quiet. "Today," he said, "one lucky person will have their life changed forever. $1 million to spend in this mall, all in one day." The crowd roared again, but Lily felt a knot in her stomach. Something about his voice, the way he scanned the crowd, made her think he was looking for someone specific. Max tugged her arm. "Mom, what if we win? Can we buy a robot dog?" Lily forced a smile, but her mind was racing. She didn't like attention. She didn't like surprises. And she really didn't like the way the woman with the clipboard kept watching her, like she knew something Lily didn't. The build-up to the big moment was a blur. Ethan explained the rules. The winner would be chosen randomly from the finalists, and they'd have until midnight to spend the money. Anything they bought was theirs to keep, no strings attached. "This is about making dreams come true," Ethan said, his smile perfect. But Lily noticed his eyes kept flicking to the side, toward a man in a dark coat standing near the stage. The man wasn't cheering. He was typing on a phone, his face serious. When Ethan called her name, it felt like the world stopped. "Lily Carter!" he shouted, and the crowd turned to stare. Max screamed with joy, but Lily's mouth went dry. She hadn't entered any contest. How did they know her name? The woman with the clipboard pushed her forward, whispering, "Smile for the cameras." Lily stumbled onto the stage, Max clinging to her side. Ethan handed her the gold envelope, his fingers brushing hers for a second. "Congratulations," he said, but his eyes said something else, something like a warning. Now, as she stood in the first store of fancy clothing shop with dresses that cost more than her rent, Lily tried to focus. Assistants buzzed around her, piling clothes and jewelry into a cart. Max was having the time of his life, trying on a tiny tuxedo and spinning in front of a mirror. But Lily couldn't shake Ethan's words. "There's more to this than you think." What was he hiding? And why did she feel like she was being watched? The store manager, a woman with a tight bun and a fake smile, handed Lily a tablet. "This tracks your spending," she said. "You've already spent 10,000. Keep going." Lily stared at the screen. $10,000 in 10 minutes? She hadn't even picked anything out. The assistants were doing it all. She looked at Max, who was giggling as an assistant tied a bow tie on him. She wanted to make him happy, but this didn't feel right. As the day went on, the highs and lows came fast. The highlight was seeing Max's face light up when they entered a toy store. He ran through the aisles, grabbing action figures, a remote control car, even a giant stuffed dinosaur. "Mom, this is the best day ever!" he shouted. Lily laughed, but her heart ached. She'd never been able to give him days like this. Was this what Ethan meant by changing her life? For a moment, she let herself dream maybe this was real. Maybe she could keep all this stuff and start over. But the low came just as quickly. In the toy store, she noticed the man in the dark coat again. He was standing by the entrance, pretending to look at a display but watching her. When she made eye contact, he turned away, but not fast enough. Her stomach twisted. Was he security? A reporter? Or something worse? She grabbed Max's hand and moved to another aisle, her heart pounding. Then came the first twist. As they left the toy store, Ethan appeared out of nowhere, his suit still perfect despite the chaos. "Having fun?" he asked, kneeling to high-five Max. Max beamed, but Lily tensed. "Why me?" she blurted out. "I didn't enter any contest. How did you pick me?" Ethan's smile didn't waver, but his eyes flicked to the side, like he was checking if anyone was listening. "Sometimes, fate picks for us," he said. "You're special, Lily. You'll see why soon." Before she could push for answers, he handed Max a toy robot and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Lily stared after him, her mind racing. Fate? Special? None of this made sense. By late afternoon, Lily was exhausted. They'd been to 10 stores, and the tablet said she'd spent 200. She tried to slow down, but the assistants kept pushing her to buy more shoes, electronics, even a diamond necklace she'd never wear. Max was thrilled, but Lily felt like she was drowning. Every time she tried to ask questions, someone changed the subject. And the man in the dark coat was still there, always, just out of sight. As they entered a furniture store, the biggest yet, Lily made a decision. She needed answers. She told the assistants she wanted to look alone and took Max to a quiet corner. "Stay here," she whispered, handing him a toy to play with. Then she slipped away, searching for Ethan. If he knew something, she was going to make him talk. She found him near a display of fancy couches, talking to the woman with the clipboard. They didn't see her at first, so she hid behind a shelf, listening. "Is she ready?" the woman asked. Ethan sighed. "She's stronger than you think, but we need to be careful. If she finds out too soon. He stopped, like he sensed something. Lily's heart pounded. Finds out. What? Before she could hear more, Max's voice rang out. Mom, where are you? Lily cursed under her breath and stepped out, pretending she'd just arrived. Ethan's face softened when he saw her, but the woman with the clipboard looked annoyed. Everything okay? Ethan asked, his voice too calm. Lily opened her mouth to demand answers, but a loud crash interrupted her. Across the store, a giant display of lamps had fallen, glass shattering everywhere. People screamed, and assistants rushed to clean it up. In the chaos, Lily saw the man in the dark coat again this time. He was closer, and he was holding something in his hand. A camera? A gun? She couldn't tell. Max, we're leaving, she said, grabbing his hand. But as she turned, Ethan was right there, blocking her path. His smile was gone, and his eyes were serious. Lily, you need to trust me, he said. This isn't what it seems. If you leave now, you'll never know the truth. Her breath caught. The crowd was still screaming about the broken lamps. Max was tugging her arm, and the man in the dark coat was getting closer. What was the truth? And why did Ethan Knight, a billionaire who could have anything, care so much about her? Lily's heart thumped so loudly she could barely hear the chaos around her. The furniture store was a mess. Broken glass from the fallen lamps sparkled on the floor, people shouted, and assistants scrambled to clean up. Max clung to her hand, his eyes wide with fear. Ethan Knight stood in front of her, his face serious, his words echoing in her mind. If you leave now, you'll never know the truth. Behind him, the man in the dark coat was moving closer, his hand still hidden in his pocket. Was he dangerous? Was Ethan? Lily didn't know who to trust, but she knew one thing. She had to protect Max. Mom, what's happening? Max whispered, his voice shaky. Lily forced a smile, kneeling to hug him. It's okay, buddy. Just a little accident. But her eyes darted to Ethan, who was watching her like he could see right through her fear. She stood, pulling Max behind her. What truth? She demanded, her voice low but sharp. Why are you doing this to us? Ethan opened his mouth, but before he could answer, the woman with the clipboard rushed over. Mr. Knight, we need you at the stage, she said, her voice panicked. The press is here, and they want a statement about the incident. Ethan hesitated, his eyes locked on Lily's. For a second, she thought he'd ignore the woman and stay, but then he nodded. Stay here, Lily, he said. I'll explain everything soon, I promise. He turned and followed the woman, leaving Lily alone with Max and a million questions. The man in the dark coat was gone now, vanished in the crowd. Lily's stomach twisted. Was he still watching? She scanned the store, but all she saw were shoppers and assistants, some staring at her like she was part of the show. She wanted to run, to take Max and get out of this mall. But Ethan's words stopped her. The truth. What did he mean? And why did it feel like her whole life was about to change? The hours before the lamp incident had been a whirlwind, each moment pulling Lily deeper into Ethan's strange world. After the toy store, the shopping spree had kicked into high gear. The assistants pushed her from one fancy shop to another, piling carts with things she'd never dreamed of, owning designer clothes, a shiny new laptop, even a piano for Max, who'd never had a music lesson in his life. Every time she tried to slow down or ask questions, someone distracted her with another purchase. You're at 300. The store manager cheered, like it was a game, but to Lily it felt like a trap. Max was the only thing keeping her grounded. His excitement was contagious, and for a while, she let herself enjoy it. In a candy store, he'd stuffed a bag with every flavor of gummy bear, giggling as he handed her a green one. Your favorite, Mom, he'd said. She'd ruffled his hair, her heart swelling. Maybe this was okay. Maybe this was just a crazy once-in-a-lifetime day. But the lows kept coming, shattering those moments of joy. In the electronics store, she'd overheard two assistants whispering. She doesn't even know, one said, glancing at Lily. Know what? The other asked, but they stopped when they saw her watching. Lily's skin prickled. What didn't she know? She tried to brush it off, but then she saw the man in the dark coat again, this time taking a photo of her and Max. She'd grabbed Max and moved to another aisle, her pulse racing. Was he a reporter? A stalker? Or something worse? The biggest twist had come just before the furniture store. They'd been in a jewelry shop, where an assistant insisted Lily try on a diamond necklace. "It's perfect for you," the assistant said, holding up a mirror. Lily stared at her reflection, the diamonds sparkling against her plain t-shirt. She looked like someone else, someone who belonged in Ethan's world. But when she reached out to take it off, the assistant stopped her. "Mr. Knight wants you to keep it on," she said. "He said it's a gift." Lily's breath caught. A gift? Why? The assistant just smiled and walked away, leaving Lily with the heavy weight of the necklace around her neck. She didn't want gifts from Ethan. She didn't want to owe him anything, but when she looked at Max, who was playing with a toy watch nearby, she wondered if she was being paranoid. Maybe Ethan was just being kind. Maybe this was all real. Now, standing in the furniture store, Lily wasn't so sure. The crash of the lamps felt like a wake-up call, a reminder that something was wrong. She needed answers, and she wasn't going to wait for Ethan to come back. "Come on, Max," she said, leading him toward the store's exit. "We're going to find out what's going on." "But what about the piano?" Max asked, looking back at the shiny black grand piano they'd picked out. Lily's heart ached. She wanted to give him everything, but not like this. "We'll get it later," she lied, hoping he wouldn't notice her worry. They slipped through the crowd, dodging assistants who were too busy cleaning up to stop them. Outside the store, the mall was still packed, but the energy had shifted. People were whispering about the lamp incident, and some were pointing at Lily and Max. "That's her," someone said. "The $1 million mom." Lily pulled Max closer, her eyes scanning for Ethan or the man in the dark coat. She didn't see either, but she did see a familiar face, the woman with the clipboard, standing near a coffee shop, talking on her phone. She looked upset, her free hand waving wildly. Lily made a snap decision. "Stay close, Max," she whispered, moving toward the woman. If anyone knew what was going on, it was her. As they got closer, Lily caught bits of the conversation. "Not supposed to happen yet," the woman was saying. "He's moving too fast. She's not ready." Lily's blood ran cold. Were they talking about her? About Ethan? Before she could get closer, the woman hung up and turned, spotting Lily. Her face went pale, but she forced a smile. "Lily, enjoying your spree?" she asked, her voice too cheerful. Lily didn't smile back. "Who were you talking to?" she asked. "And why do you keep saying I'm not ready?" The woman's smile faltered. "Oh, you heard that? Just work stuff. Nothing to worry about." She tried to walk away, but Lily stepped in front of her. "No, tell me what's going on. Why did Ethan pick me? What's the truth he's talking about?" Max tugged at her hand. "Mom, you're scaring me," he said. Lily softened, kneeling to hug him. "I'm sorry, buddy. I just need to talk to this lady, okay?" She looked up at the woman who was backing away. "Please," Lily said. "I have a son. If something's wrong, I need to know." The woman hesitated, glancing around like she was afraid someone was watching. Then she leaned closer, her voice barely a whisper. "It's not my place to say, but Ethan's not who you think he is. This spree, it's not random. You were chosen for a reason, but I can't." She stopped, her eyes widening as someone approached. Lily turned to see Ethan striding toward them, his face calm but his eyes sharp. "Everything okay here?" he asked, looking between Lily and the woman. The woman stammered, "Just checking on our winner," and hurried away, leaving Lily and Ethan alone. Lily's heart raced. She wanted to demand answers, but Max was right there, watching with big, worried eyes. "Max, why don't you look at that toy display over there?" she said, pointing to a nearby kiosk. Max nodded and ran off, staying close enough for her to see him. She turned to Ethan, her voice low. "No more games. Tell me why I'm here, or I'm leaving with my son." Ethan sighed, running a hand through his hair. For the first time, he looked tired, like he was carrying something heavy. "Lily, I didn't want it to happen like this," he said. "I wanted to ease you into it, but you're right. You deserve the truth." He glanced around, then leaned closer. "This spree isn't just about money. It's about you. I've been watching you for a long time." Lily's breath caught. "Watching me? What do you mean?" Her mind raced with possibilities. Was he a creep? A stalker? But Ethan's eyes were soft, almost sad. "Not like that," he said quickly. "It's complicated. You're special, Lily. More special than you know. And I'm not just a billionaire. I'm—" He stopped, his eyes flicking to something behind her. Lily turned, and her heart stopped. The man in the dark coat was back, and this time, he wasn't hiding. He was walking straight toward them, his hand reaching into his pocket. "Lily, get Max and go," Ethan said, his voice urgent. "Now." But before she could move, the man pulled something out a small black device, blinking with a red light. He pressed a button, and a loud beep echoed through the mall. The lights flickered, and people started screaming. Ethan grabbed Lily's arm, pulling her toward Max. "Run!" he shouted. Lily scooped Max up, her heart pounding as she sprinted through the panicking crowd. What was that device? Was it a bomb? A tracker? And why was Ethan so scared? As they ran, she looked back and saw Ethan facing the man in the dark coat, his fists clenched like he was ready to fight. The last thing she heard before the crowd swallowed them was Ethan's voice, shouting, "You can't have her!" Lily's sneakers pounded against the mall's shiny floor, Max's small body heavy in her arms. Her heart raced as screams echoed behind her, the crowd surging like a wave. The lights flickered again, casting eerie shadows, and that sharp beep from the man's device still rang in her ears. Was it a bomb? A signal? She didn't know. But Ethan's warning, "You can't have her," pushed her to keep running. Who was after her? And why was Ethan, a billionaire who could have anything, fighting to protect her? "Mom, I'm scared," Max cried, his arms tight around her neck. Lily's chest ached, but she didn't stop. "It's okay, buddy," she panted, dodging a group of shoppers. "We're gonna be okay." But she wasn't sure. The mall, once bright and exciting, now felt like a maze closing in. Every corner hid a threat: the man in the dark coat, the woman with the clipboard, or something worse. And Ethan's words haunted her. "I've been watching you for a long time." What did he mean? Was he her savior, or part of the danger? She ducked into a quieter hallway near a pretzel stand, her breath ragged. The crowd's noise faded, but her pulse didn't slow. She set Max down, checking him for scrapes. His big eyes were wet with tears. "Why are we running?" he asked. "Is that man bad?" Lily hugged him tight, her mind racing for an answer that wouldn't scare him more. "I don't know yet," she said. "But we're gonna figure this out together, okay?" Max nodded, but his lip trembled. Lily peeked around the corner. The main mall was chaos: people shoving, security guards shouting, and assistants trying to calm everyone. No sign of Ethan or the man in the dark coat. But she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She needed a plan. She couldn't keep running blindly, not with Max. She had to find out what Ethan was hiding and why this spree had turned into a nightmare. The day had started so differently. After Ethan announced her as the winner, the shopping spree felt like a fairy tale. Lily and Max had been whisked from store to store, each one fancier than the last. In a shoe store, Max had tried on light-up sneakers that cost more than her weekly paycheck. "Look, Mom, I'm a superhero," he'd said, stomping to make them flash. Lily had laughed, her worries fading for a moment. Maybe this was just a lucky break, a chance to give Max the life she'd always dreamed of. But the highs never lasted. In a tech store, an assistant had handed her a sleek new phone, already set up with her contacts. "How do you have my numbers?" Lily asked, her stomach twisting. The assistant shrugged. "Mr. Knight's team took care of it." Lily stared at the phone, unease creeping in. How did Ethan know so much about her? Her address, her phone contacts, things she'd never shared. She'd put the phone down, but the assistant insisted she keep it. "It's part of the prize," he said. his smile too perfect. The tension grew in the jewelry store, where Ethan's gift of the diamond necklace had unsettled her. She'd tried to take it off, but the clasp wouldn't budge. "It's stuck," she told an assistant, who just giggled and said, "Maybe it's meant to stay on." Lily's skin crawled. The necklace felt like a chain, tying her to Ethan's strange world. She'd wanted to confront him then, but Max was so happy, trying on a toy crown, that she'd pushed her fears aside. The furniture store had been the breaking point. Hearing the woman with the clipboard say, "She's not ready," and Ethan's cryptic, "If she finds out too soon," had confirmed her suspicions. This wasn't a random contest. Ethan had chosen her for a reason, and it wasn't just to give her $1 million. The lamp crashed, and the man in the dark coat had turned her confusion into fear. And now, running through the mall with Max, she felt like prey in a hunt she didn't understand. Lily took a deep breath, forcing herself to think. She couldn't go back to the main mall not yet. She needed somewhere safe to regroup. The hallway led to a service door marked "Employees Only." It was risky, but it might get them away from the chaos. "Come on, Max," she whispered, pushing the door open. It creaked, revealing a dim corridor lined with boxes and cleaning supplies. The air smelled like bleach, but it was quiet. She closed the door behind them, her heart still racing. "Mom, are we hiding?" Max asked, clutching her hand. Lily nodded. "Just for a little bit, okay? Like when we play hide and seek." Max smiled weakly, but his eyes were nervous. She led him down the corridor, looking for a place to sit. They found a small break room with a table, a vending machine, and a couple of chairs. Lily locked the door and sat Max down, grabbing a soda from the machine to calm him. "Max, I need you to be brave," she said, kneeling in front of him. "Some weird stuff is happening, but I'm gonna keep you safe. Can you help me by staying quiet?" Max nodded, sipping the soda. "Is Mr. Knight a bad guy?" he asked. Lily hesitated. She didn't know. Ethan's warnings and the way he'd faced the man in the dark coat made her think he was protecting her. But his secrets, "I've been watching you," made her doubt everything. Before she could answer, her pocket buzzed. She pulled out the phone from the tech store, the one she hadn't wanted to keep. The screen lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Lily, it's Ethan. Don't go back to the main mall. Stay hidden. I'll find you." Her hands shook. How did he know where she was? Was the phone tracking her? She wanted to throw it against the wall, but another text came through. "The man in the coat works for someone dangerous. I can explain everything, but you have to trust me." Lily stared at the screen, her mind spinning. Trust him? After everything? But the memory of Ethan standing between her and the man in the dark coat, his voice fierce, made her pause. Maybe he was her only way out of this. She typed back, "Where are you? What's going on?" But before she could hit send, a loud bang came from the corridor. Max gasped, spilling his soda. Someone was trying to open the service door. Lily grabbed Max and pulled him behind the vending machine, her heart in her throat. The banging stopped, but footsteps echoed closer. She held her breath, clutching Max so tight he whimpered. The break room door rattled, and a voice low and unfamiliar muttered, "They're not here." Another voice replied, "Check the next hall." She can't have gone far. The footsteps faded, but Lily didn't move. Who were they? The man in the dark coat and someone else? Or was Ethan part of it, leading her into a trap? The next few minutes felt like hours. Lily's mind raced, piecing together the day's clues. The woman with the clipboard, the phone with her contacts, the necklace she couldn't remove at all, pointed to a plan she didn't understand. And Ethan's words, "You're special, Lily. More special than you know." What made her special? She was just a single mom, struggling to get by. She'd never met Ethan before today, had she? But a fuzzy memory tugged at her charity event at Dino's Diner last year, where a man in a suit had tipped her 100 and smiled like he knew her. Was that Ethan? She shook her head. She couldn't trust her memory, not now. She needed to focus on keeping Max safe. The phone buzzed again, and she flinched. Another text from Ethan. "I'm in the East Wing, near the food court. Meet me there. I'll keep you safe." Lily's stomach twisted. The East Wing was on the other side of the mall. Getting there meant going back through the chaos, risking the man in the dark coat or whoever else was after her. But staying here wasn't safe either. Those voices in the corridor could come back. "Max, we're gonna move again," she whispered. "Stay close, and don't make a sound." Max nodded, his face pale but brave. She unlocked the break room door and peeked out. The corridor was empty. They crept back to the service door, and Lily eased it open, checking the hallway. The mall's noise hid her shouts, footsteps, and the faint wail of a security alarm. The lamp incident had turned everything upside down. They slipped into the main mall, sticking to the edges to avoid attention. Lily's eyes darted everywhere, searching for the man in the dark coat or Ethan. She saw neither, but the crowd was thinning, and security guards were herding people toward the exits. "The mall's closing early," a guard shouted. "Please leave calmly." Lily's heart sank. If the mall closed, where would she go? She couldn't take Max home or not if someone was after them. As they neared the food court, Lily spotted Ethan. He was standing by a smoothie stand, his suit rumpled and a cut on his cheek. He looked like he'd been in a fight. When he saw her, his face lit up with relief. "Lily!" he called, waving her over, but something made her hesitate. The phone in her pocket felt heavy, and the necklace burned against her skin. Was this a trap? Before she could decide, Max pointed across the food court. "Mom, look!" The man in the dark coat was there, talking to two other men in suits. They were scanning the crowd, and one of them pointed right at her. Lily's blood ran cold. "Ethan!" she shouted, running toward him. But as she reached him, the men started moving fast. Ethan grabbed her hand, his grip tight. "This way," he said, pulling her and Max toward a side exit. They burst through the door into a parking garage, the air cold and sharp. Ethan didn't stop, leading them to a black SUV with tinted windows. "Get in," he said, opening the door. Lily froze. "No way," she said. "Not until you tell me what's happening." Ethan's eyes were desperate. "Lily, please." "They're coming. I'll explain everything, but we have to go now." The sound of footsteps echoed in the garage, and Max whimpered. Lily looked at Ethan, then at her son. She had no choice. She climbed into the SUV, pulling Max with her. Ethan jumped into the driver's seat and peeled out, tires screeching. As they sped away, Lily saw the man in the dark coat, and his partners burst into the garage, too late to catch them. Max huddled against her, shaking. "Mom, are we safe now?" he asked. Lily didn't answer. She looked at Ethan, his hands tight on the wheel, his face grim. "You better start talking," she said. "Who are those men? Why are they after me? And what do you mean I'm special?" Ethan glanced at her, his eyes full of something she couldn't read: fear, guilt, maybe even hope. "You're not just a random winner, Lily," he said. "You're the key to something bigger, something that could change everything." Before he could say more, the SUV's rear window shattered. A bullet. Max screamed, and Lily ducked, covering him with her body. Ethan swore, swerving the car. "Hold on!" he shouted, as another shot rang out. The SUV roared through the parking garage, tires screeching, as Ethan swerved to avoid another bullet. Lily clung to Max, her body shielding him as glass shards from the shattered rear window glittered on the seats. Max's sobs broke her heart, but she whispered, "It's okay, buddy, I've got you," even though fear choked her. The gunfire stopped, but the danger wasn't gone. She could hear engines revving behind them. Someone was chasing them. Ethan's knuckles were white on the steering wheel, his jaw tight. "Hold on," he shouted, slamming the gas pedal as they burst onto the street, city lights blurring past. Lily's mind raced. Just hours ago, she'd been a single mom picking out toys for her son. Now, she was in a high-speed chase, running from men with guns, with a billionaire who claimed she was the key to something bigger. What did that mean? And why was her life suddenly a target? She glanced at Ethan, his face lit by the dashboard's glow. He'd saved them from the mall, but his secrets were piling up. "You're not just a random winner, Lily," his words echoed, both a promise and a threat. "Ethan, talk!" she demanded, her voice shaking but firm. "Who's shooting at us? Why am I the key? No more half answers." Max whimpered, and she stroked his hair, trying to keep him calm. Ethan's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, checking for their pursuers. "I'm trying to keep you alive," he said. "But you're right. You need to know." He took a sharp turn, the SUV tilting, and for a moment, Lily thought they'd crash. But he steadied the car, and his voice dropped low, urgent. "Those men work for a group called the Syndicate," he said. "They're powerful, dangerous, and they want you because of something you don't even know you have." Lily's stomach twisted. "What do I have?" she asked. Ethan hesitated, like the words were hard to say. "It's in your blood, Lily. Your DNA. You carry a gene that could unlock a breakthrough, a cure for diseases, maybe even aging. The Syndicate wants to control it. I've been trying to protect you." Lily stared at him, her mind reeling. A gene? Her DNA? It sounded like science fiction, but the bullets were real. "How do you know this?" she asked. "And why do you care?" Ethan's face softened, and for a second, he looked almost human, not the untouchable billionaire from TV. "Because I've been where you are," he said. "And because I've felt something for you, Lily, since the moment I saw you." Her breath caught. Was he serious? A billionaire falling for her, a waitress who could barely pay rent? Before she could process it, a black van roared up behind them, its headlights blinding. Another shot rang out, grazing the SUV's side. Max screamed, and Lily's heart pounded. "Ethan, drive faster!" she yelled. He didn't need to be told twice. The SUV surged forward, weaving through traffic as the city blurred into streaks of light. The day's chaos felt like a lifetime ago, but every moment had led to this. After Ethan announced her as the shopping spree winner, Lily was swept into a dream that quickly turned strange. The assistants who knew too much about her, the phone preloaded with her contacts, the diamond necklace she couldn't remove all of it, had hinted at a bigger plan. Ethan's cryptic warnings like, "There's more to this than you think," had kept her on edge, and the man in the dark coat, always watching, had turned her unease into fear. The furniture store incident when the lamps crashed and Ethan faced the man in the dark coat had been the first real crack in the fairy tale. Running through the mall with Max, hiding in the service corridor, and now fleeing in Ethan's SUV, all felt like a nightmare she couldn't wake from. But Ethan's confession about her DNA and the Syndicate added a new layer of terror. Was she carrying some kind of miracle gene? And if so, how did Ethan know? Had he been stalking her, or was he truly trying to save her? She thought back to the charity event at Dino's diner, the one she'd half remembered in the mall. A man in a suit had tipped her 100, his smile lingering too long. She'd brushed it off then, but now she wondered, was that Ethan? Had he been watching her for a year, waiting for this moment? The idea made her skin crawl, but his actions tonight facing the man in the dark coat, driving them to safety, suggested he cared. Or was it all an act? The chase tore through the city, the black van gaining ground. Ethan's driving was reckless but skilled, dodging cars and running red lights. Lily held Max tight, her mind racing for a way out. "Where are we going?" she asked. Ethan's eyes were locked on the road. "Somewhere safe," he said. "A place the Syndicate can't find us." But his voice was tight, like he wasn't sure they'd make it. The SUV swerved onto a narrow street, and for a moment, the van fell back. Ethan used the chance to talk. "Lily, I know this is a lot," he said, "but I need you to trust me. The Syndicate has been after your gene for years. I found out about it through my company's research. We were working on genetic cures, and your DNA came up as a match. I couldn't let them get to you first." Lily's head spun. "So you made up the shopping spree to... what? Trick me?" Ethan shook his head. "Not a trick. A way to get close to you, to protect you. I thought I could keep it under control, but the Syndicate moved faster than I expected." His voice cracked, and Lily saw something new in his eyes gilt. "I'm sorry, Lily. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Before she could respond, the van reappeared, closer now, a man leaned out its window, aiming a gun. "Get down!" Ethan shouted. Lily ducked, pulling Max to the floor as another bullet hit the SUV, this time cracking the side window. Max sobbed, and Lily's fear turned to anger. "You dragged us into this," she yelled at Ethan. "You should have told me from the start." "I know," Ethan said, his voice raw. "But I'm telling you now. And I swear, I'll get you out of this." He took a sharp turn into an industrial area, the streets lined with warehouses. The van was still behind them, but Ethan seemed to have a plan. He sped toward a gated lot, where a security guard waved him through. The gate slammed shut just as the van reached it, trapping their pursuers outside. Ethan didn't stop, driving deep into the lot until they reached a nondescript building. He parked and jumped out, opening Lily's door. "Come on," he said. "We're safe here for now." Lily hesitated, Max still in her arms. Could she trust him? The van was gone, but the syndicate wouldn't give up. And Ethan's story about her DNA raised more questions than answers. Inside, the building looked like a high-tech lab, with computers and machines humming. A woman in a white coat greeted them, her face serious. "Mr. Knight, you made it," she said, glancing at Lily and Max. "Is this her?" Ethan nodded. "Lily, this is Dr. Sarah Chen. She's been working on the gene project. She can explain everything." Dr. Chen led them to a small room with a couch and a fridge. Lily set Max down, grabbing a water bottle to calm him. "Stay here, buddy," she said, kissing his forehead. Max nodded, exhausted. Lily turned to Ethan and Dr. Chen, her voice low. "Start talking. Everything. Now." Dr. Chen pulled up a screen showing a DNA helix. "Your gene, Lily, is unique," she said. "It could revolutionize medicine to cure cancer, Alzheimer's, maybe more. But it's rare, found in less than 0.01% of people. The syndicate wants to weaponize it, create a drug they can control. Ethan's been funding our research to keep it out of their hands." Lily's knees felt weak. "How do you know it's me?" she asked. Dr. Chen hesitated, glancing at Ethan. "We tested your blood," she said, "from a hospital visit last year." Lily's anger flared. "You took my blood without asking?" Ethan stepped forward. "It was wrong, Lily. I know that. But when I saw your results, I couldn't let the syndicate find you. I had to act." Lily's mind raced. A hospital visit when Max had a fever, and she'd given blood for a routine test. Had Ethan's people been behind it? She felt violated, but the fear in Ethan's eyes was real. "Why not just tell me?" she asked. Ethan sighed. "Would you have believed me? A stranger saying your DNA could change the world? I thought the spree would give me time to earn your trust." Before Lily could respond, an alarm blared. Dr. Chen's face paled. "They've breached the gate," she said, checking a security feed. The black van was inside, and men with guns were spreading out. Ethan grabbed Lily's hand. "We have to move," he said. "There's a safe room upstairs." Lily scooped up Max, her heart pounding. As they ran, she looked at Ethan, his face set with determination. He'd lied, manipulated her, but he was risking his life for her and Max. Was it guilt? Duty? Or something more, like he'd hinted in the car? "I felt something for you." Her heart fluttered, but she pushed it down. Feelings didn't matter now, survival did. They reached the safe room, a steel door slamming shut behind them. Dr. Chen locked it, but the sound of boots echoed outside. Ethan turned to Lily, his eyes intense. "I'll protect you no matter what," he said. "But there's one more thing you need to know." He paused, like the words were too big to say. "Your genesis not just in you, it's in Max too." Lily's world tilted. Max, her baby, was a target? Before she could speak, the door shook with a loud bang. Someone was trying to break in. Ethan pulled a gun from his jacket, his face grim. "Stay behind me," he said. As the door buckled, Lily held Max tight, her mind screaming one question. Could she trust Ethan to save them, or had he just led them to their doom? The safe room shook as the steel door groaned under another heavy blow. Lily held Max tight, his small body trembling against her. The air was thick with fear, the blaring alarm cutting through the hum of the lab's machines. Ethan stood in front of them, his gun steady, his eyes locked on the buckling door. Dr. Chen worked frantically at a computer, trying to activate more security measures, but her face was pale. The syndicate was here, and they wanted Lily and Max for the gene in their blood that could change the world. Ethan's words echoed in Lily's mind. It's not just in you. It's in Max, too. Her son, her whole world was a target. And Ethan, the billionaire who'd turned her life upside down, was their only hope or their biggest mistake. Mom, are we gonna be okay? Max whispered, his voice barely audible over the alarm. Lily kissed his forehead, forcing her voice to stay calm. Yes, buddy, I promise. But her heart pounded. The door wouldn't hold much longer. She looked at Ethan, his jaw tight, his gun ready. He lied about the shopping spree, manipulated her, but he'd also risked everything to get them here. And that moment in the car, I felt something for you, still lingered, stirring feelings she didn't have time to face. Could she trust him now, when it mattered most? Dr. Chen, how much time? Ethan called, not taking his eyes off the door. 2 minutes, maybe less, she replied, her fingers flying across the keyboard. I'm locking down the lab, but they're cutting through the outer defenses. Another bang shook the room, and Max whimpered. Lily's anger surged. Ethan, you said we'd be safe here, she snapped. He glanced back, his eyes full of guilt. I'm sorry, Lily. I underestimated them. But I swear, I'll get you out of this. Before she could respond, the door exploded inward, metal screeching as it hit the floor. 3 men in black tactical gear stormed in, their guns raised. The man in the dark coat, the one from the mauled them, his face cold and focused. Drop the weapon, Knight, he said, his voice like ice. Ethan didn't move, his gun still aimed. You're not taking them, he said. This ends here. Lily's heart stopped. She pulled Max behind a metal cabinet, her mind racing. The room was small, with nowhere to run. Dr. Chen froze at the computer, her hands raised. The man in the dark coat smirked. You can't stop us, Knight. The syndicate owns this city. Hand over the woman and the kid, and maybe we'll let you live. Ethan's voice was steady, but Lily heard the strain. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Lily's gene isn't just a weapon, it's hope. For everyone. You think the syndicate cares about that? They'll destroy her to control it. The man laughed, stepping closer. Hope? That's your pitch? You're softer than I thought. Lily's mind raced. She couldn't let this happen. She couldn't let them take Max. Her eyes darted around the room, landing on a fire extinguisher mounted on the wall. It wasn't much, but it was something. She whispered to Max, Stay here, okay? Don't move. He nodded, tears in his eyes. She crept toward the extinguisher, her heart pounding. The day's events flashed through her mind, each moment a step toward this showdown. The shopping spree had been a glittering trap, pulling her into Ethan's world of secrets and danger. The assistants who knew too much, the necklace she couldn't remove, the man in the dark coat always watching it all made sense now. Ethan had orchestrated the spree to protect her, but the syndicate had been one step ahead. The chase through the mall, the gunfire in the SUV, the lab's high-tech wall saw led to this moment, where her life and Max's hung in the balance. She thought of Ethan's confession in the car, his claim that he'd felt something for her. It had seemed impossible Thane a billionaire falling for a single mom, but his actions spoke louder. He'd faced the man in the dark coat in the mall, driven through a hail of bullets, and now stood ready to die for them. Was it guilt for dragging her into this, or was it real? Her heart ached with the possibility, but survival came first. Lily reached the extinguisher, her hands shaking as she unhooked it. The men were focused on Ethan, their guns trained on him. She had one chance. She yanked the pin, aimed, and sprayed a cloud of white foam into the room. The men shouted, stumbling as the fog blinded them. Ethan didn't hesitate. He fired, hitting one man in the leg. The second lunged at him, but Ethan dodged, tackling him to the ground. The man in the dark coat recovered fast, wiping foam from his eyes. He spotted Lily and charged, his gun raised. "You're mine!" he snarled. Lily swung the extinguisher, hitting his arm. The gun flew from his hand, skidding across the floor. He roared, grabbing her wrist, but Ethan was there, pulling him off. The two men fought, fists flying, as Lily scrambled for the gun. Dr. Chen shouted, "The lockdown's complete! Backup's coming!" But the man in the dark coat was relentless, pinning Ethan against the wall. Lily's fingers closed around the gun, her hands trembling. She'd never held one before, but Max's life was on the line. "Stop!" she yelled, aiming at the man. He froze, his eyes narrowing. "You won't shoot," he said. "You're just a mom." Lily's voice shook, but her resolve didn't. "Try me." For a moment, the room was silent, the tension electric. Then sirens wailed outside Dr. Chen's backup. The man in the dark coat cursed, shoving Ethan away. "This isn't over," he spat, sprinting for the door. His injured partner limped after him, the third still unconscious on the floor. Ethan collapsed, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Lily dropped the gun, rushing to him. "Are you okay?" she asked, her hands shaking. He managed a weak smile. "You're incredible, you know that?" Max ran to her, and she hugged him tight, tears streaming down her face. The sirens grew louder, and Dr. Chen opened the door as security teams stormed in, securing the room. Hours later, Lily sat in a quiet office in the lab, Max asleep on a couch nearby. The syndicate's men were gone, either arrested or vanished, but Dr. Chen warned they'd be back. Ethan sat across from her, his wounds bandaged, his eyes heavy with exhaustion. "I'm so sorry, Lily," he said. "I thought I could protect you without you knowing the truth. I was wrong." Lily's heart was a tangle of anger, fear, and something softer she didn't want to name. "You should have told me from the start," she said. "But you saved us. Why? Why risk everything for us?" Ethan looked at her, his gaze steady. "Because you're worth it. Not just your Jineo. Your strength, your love for Max. I saw it that day at the diner, when you smiled through a double shift. I've been falling for you ever since." Her breath caught. It was real, then the spark she'd felt, the way his eyes softened when he looked at her. But trust was hard after everything. "What now?" she asked. "The syndicate won't stop, will they?" Ethan shook his head. "No, but I've got resources, people who can keep you safe, and I'll be there if you'll let me." Dr. Chen entered, holding a tablet. "Lily, we can relocate you and Max, give you new identities, or you can stay and help us protect the gene, use it for good." Lily looked at Max, sleeping peacefully. She'd do anything to keep him safe, but running meant giving up her life. Staying meant facing the syndicate and trusting Ethan. She thought of the shopping spree, how it had started with a gold envelope and ended with bullets. It had brought her to Ethan, to danger, but also to a truth about herself. She was stronger than she'd ever known. She looked at Ethan, his eyes full of hope and something deeper. "I need time," she said. "But I don't want to run." Ethan smiled, a real smile that warmed her heart. "That's all I need to hear," he said. "We'll face this together." Outside, the city lights glowed, a reminder of the world waiting. The syndicate was still out there, but for the first time, Lily felt ready. With Max by her side and Ethan's promise, she'd fight for their future one, where love, not fear, could win.